Hello, Mallards. It's Tuesday, and today I want to talk about the Netflix original film Red Notice, which I watched with my dad this afternoon. We're going to start with the fact that I messaged my dad to ask him if he was free today so that we could watch Red Notice together online, and his response was, "Isn't that a movie that's in theaters? How are we going to watch that together?" Because he couldn't comprehend the idea that Netflix had a film whose star lineup was Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, Gal Gadot, and Ryan Reynolds. Like, he thought it had to be a film in theaters. So, go Netflix. So it was fun to have that reaction and then get a chance to watch this film with my dad today, because it's always a good time to watch a movie with my father. For those of you who aren't familiar with this film and haven't seen it yet, spoilers abound in this next section. So go watch it on Netflix, because that's where it's streaming, and then come back to me. This film is a classic heist film. It focuses on the main character, who's Ryan Reynolds. His name is Booth, Nolan Booth, and he is a pretty well-renowned thief. Mostly an art thief, but not necessarily art in the just paintings way, all art in general. And he's being pursued by John Hartley, who is an FBI agent who's way out of his jurisdiction in a foreign country, as well as an Interpol agent named Doss, who is after him. And Hartley is played by Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. And then there's also a competing art thief named the Bishop, who's played by Gal Gadot. And so that is the core group that we're interacting with, and it just gets wilder from there. So it opens up with Booth creating a sort of History Channel narration about Cleopatra's 3 eggs, which are going to be the central objects for this heist, and that one of the eggs was lost to time and no one knows where it is. And the other 2, one of them's in a museum and one of them's owned by a private art collector. And then we see Booth creating a forgery egg. And then we go to the museum where Hartley is there investigating with Inspector Doss and telling them that Booth is going to be there. He was definitely going to steal the egg. They arrive into the area where the egg is being displayed. The egg is there. And then in a stunning show of the corrosive effects of Coca-Cola, Hartley just pours a bottle of Coca-Cola on the egg and it melts. And it had been 3D printed. And clearly I should just go home and pour some Coca-Cola on one of Amanda's 3D printed things and see if it melts. Maybe that's legit. I don't know. It didn't seem legit to me, but like I said, I've never poured Coca-Cola onto a 3D printed object, and I do know that it does have corrosive effects, so this could be a thing that happens, and just the way that it is. But that was the kickoff, and then, of course, there's a lot of Hartley chasing Booth, and eventually he catches him. He escapes from where he stole the place, which I think was in Rome, and ends up in some tropical island, but Hartley has already figured out that he was there and arrives. He's arrested. The egg is taken back, but while they're transporting it, that egg is stolen by the person we instantly recognize must be Bishop, who is the one who told Hartley where to find Booth to begin with, turned him in, because they're both competing to try and gather all 3 of Cleopatra's eggs in order to gift them to a really rich man who's obsessed with Cleopatra, who's named his daughter Cleopatra, and as a wedding gift wants to give her all 3 eggs, which is an absolutely absurd instigator for this whole thing, and really sets the level for what everything is going to be like. I feel like Ryan Reynolds is playing the same character he always plays, which I'm literally never mad about. But I do feel like everybody is playing an amped up caricature of that character they always play. So The Rock has that do good, by the book law enforcement guy, but like cranked up to 11. And Gal Gadot has the like, I'm too cool, I'm too slick Banff woman fighter, but also like cranked up to 11 with this like weird interspersal of like her being very serious and killing people and then like flipping the switch to the like singing and laughing and just being really goofy, and also like flipping the switch for her like impersonating a woman who's freaking out. Does it really, really well. Bishop comes off like dangerous and scary and really awesome in the whole thing. And then Booth, because it's played by Ryan Reynolds, like because he's Ryan Reynolds, has that sort of snark that we've come to know and love, and just that dry humor that I don't care if he's the same character in everything, because I love it every time. 100% of the time, I am having a good time. And I feel like every single one of those characters is cranked up. And then the woman who's the Interpol officer is also cranked up pretty high, in that when Bishop steals the egg and replaces it with a fake, she comes down on Hartley and is like, we gave this egg to you and then you lost it, like I think you're in on it. Which is how Hartley and Booth end up in prison together in the same cell, and then break out, because that's what Booth's known for. He steals art, he gets caught, he goes to jail, he breaks out of jail, he really enjoys it, has a great time doing that sort of thing, proving he's the best. And they decide to go after Bishop together. You discover other things as it's going along, so like finding the other egg, which is owned by a private collector. Only when they get there, Bishop has already like wormed her way in with this private collector, and so like they show up to steal the egg and she's already there, and they think, oh, that they're fighting to steal it. But when the private collector like breaks in on them, he's like, yes, I made a deal with this woman to let her have the egg. She's gonna give me a portion of the money for it. Then she doesn't. She murders him, which is to be expected and also totally awesome. And then you have the third egg, and there's a little bit of mystery of like not knowing where that egg is, and you get some of Booth's backstory and realize that his father was searching for this egg, and it was like taken by Nazi art collectors. And there's like a fair amount of like little weird history sprinkles in there that I didn't necessarily need, but I'm not mad at. But again, it's just absurd that like this art thief's father was really obsessed with this and had actually found the artifact that like led them to the entrance in Argentina. And so like now we have watched all of this sort of play out, and he's going to Argentina after lying to Bishop and telling Bishop that the egg is still in Egypt. But we're pretty sure that Bishop doesn't believe that. And then they get to this underground bunker. They fight their way in. You have all of the amazing treasure, some really old cars. There's a bunch of fun chase scenes because now Interpol like shows up when Bishop also shows up. And so then they're all running away, and Hartley is actually fighting against Interpol, and because they shot at him first and obviously have turned on him, believing that he was a thief the whole time. And it just gets absolutely insane. And every moment of that is really fun. There are really fun fights. There's a fun fight on a scaffolding with Ryan Reynolds that I thought was really enjoyable. The fight with Gal Gadot that is in the egg room, like it's the three of them fighting over the egg in like the collector's room, has been in a bunch of trailers and is really, really fun and very enjoyable. The fight in the Nazi bunker is a lot more shooting, but still like pretty wild. And the car chase is really fun. There are a couple of other scenes that are like that are just super, super fun. And then they escape from Interpol and they crash down and they're all like in the water, and Booth gets out with the egg and then decides to turn back to try and find Hartley because he has started to really feel for him. And then perhaps the singular best moment of this film happens, because all of that pretty anticipated. I was building up to that. I was like, of course he's going to turn back. You know, he really cares about Hartley now. And then Hartley wasn't in the water. And then their Bishop also gets out of the water. And so, like, they're all confronting each other. It's very clear that, like, Bishop is trying to get them to turn. And we're like, it's fine. Like, Bishop is going to be under arrest because, like, Hartley is going to arrest Bishop now to clear his name. And also, like, Booth will be fine. And then, instead of that happening, Hartley and Bishop kiss. And I did not see that double cross coming. Like, did not. Looking back on the whole film now, I can be like, yes, I could sort of see where that was hinted at, because the hints are there, but, like, I did not pick up on them like I pick up on a lot of things usually. So it really shocked me in that moment, which was really fun. It's rare for a film to have a twist like that I don't see coming, especially a film that's, like, not a super thriller. So I loved that moment and the whole turn the film took from there. And then it ends with them deciding, with, like, Booth escaping yet again and finding Bishop and Hartley where they are in a yacht in the middle of the ocean and entreating them to do another heist, which means that there could be another film, which I will absolutely watch. And I just had such a great time. This is a film that you will enjoy if you enjoy Ryan Reynolds and the character he portrays often. It's snarky, it's funny, it's very, very quick. It's got some wild fights, it's got some fun twists and turns, and overall, it's just such an enjoyable time. Like, it is a 2-hour movie, and I was having a good time for that whole 2 hours. I will say that it does seem like Netflix spent a lot of their money getting awesome actors and therefore didn't have any money to spend on special effects, because some of the CGI in this film is rough. Not like Scorpion King rough, but, like, not much better, and we are a lot further in the future. So there are some bits in, like, the car chase scenes and a couple of other times where I was like, oh man, the CGI, it's rough. So if rough CGI is not your thing, this is maybe not your movie. But if you enjoy Ryan Reynolds being Ryan Reynolds and characters that are turned up to 11 with absolutely absurd premises that somehow work, enjoy Red Notice. And keep your fingers crossed with me that there is another one, because watching the 3 of those actors perform together, absolutely beautiful. 10 out of 10 would do again. I'll see you tomorrow.